Hello everybody and welcome to our class on the Wisconsin Digital Library Libby app digital magazines. I know that's a mouthful. If you have used our magazines in the past, either on Zinio or most recently on RB Digital, this will definitely interest you. The move came a couple months ago that they're now available on Wisconsin Digital Library, and now this is the only place to access those digital magazines. If you haven't used our digital magazines, this is going to be a great class to show you what we have to offer as well as how to access them. Now, our digital magazines are really great. You can check them out. Now that they have moved over to Libby, they're integrated with all the rest of the Wisconsin Digital Library materials, so the audiobooks and ebooks, and they're all on one account now and one app instead of multiple apps for multiple things. We have thousands of different magazines. We have a rolling 3-year back date, so once a new issue comes out, we'll have up to 3 years of back issues for that particular title. So for things that come out in April of 2021, we'll have all the way back to April of 2018. If they're quarterly, then we'll have the same amount of issues just back to 2018. So it's 3 years of back issues for those magazines. So if you want to read older issues, you can do that as well. We have a huge long list. You can find that on County Cat for all the available magazines that we have. But let's hop right into it. So there are a couple different ways to locate magazines on the Libby app. So I'm going to first talk about how you can find them, and then we'll go into checking out and reading the actual magazines, as well as how you can be notified. RB Digital had a feature where the next issue would immediately check out to you when it was released. That's no longer available in Libby, and part of that is Libby limits you to 10 checkouts at once, and that includes audiobooks, ebooks, and magazines, so you can have 10 total items out of those 3. So that is one change. But let's start with finding our magazines. One option, which you may find the easiest if you know what you're looking for and know we have it, is to search for it. So in the Libby layout, the search icon is a little magnifying glass down here. So I'm going to touch that. And then you just type in the title of the magazine, and you can see it auto-populates in the search. So I'm searching for Cook's Illustrated. I'll touch there. And you can see everything related to Cook's Illustrated, including 31 books and 1 magazine. So these ones here are all the books, and further down there are more books. This top left one is the magazine series. You can see right here it says magazine series. And we'll go ahead and click on the cover. What that opens up is then the record for the most recent issue. You can click borrow if you want to read it, or if you want to check it out and download it to your device. You can click read sample, and you can click tag, and we'll get into those a little bit later. The text here will be describing the current issue and what is in the current issue. And if you keep scrolling down, here are those back issues I was talking about. So this one is every other month. It's a 2-month long issue. So there's May, June of 2021, and that's the current issue. March, April, January, February, and so on. And you can scroll down, and there's a little down arrow there. We'll click on that. I'll do that one more time. And here is the last back issues we have are March, April of 2018. So all of these are available for checkout. There are no waiting lists. You can check them out and download them right away and start reading them right away. And you can do that by clicking the little plus sign symbol right there, and that will get those checked out to you. Before we do that, I want to talk about how you can browse for magazines. So if you use Libby a lot, you know that there are a whole bunch of different guides and categories in the app. If you scroll down on the main page, here's one that's a generated list for newly added magazines. And we can look at that. And this is going to be all the different magazines that we have in no particular order. And you can see there are over 2,000, almost 2,400 different magazines. But that may not always be there. These do rotate in and out, these display cards. So the best way that I've found to do it, that's the most user-friendly, is to click on the Subjects tab right here. And that will pull up all different subjects, and this will be for all materials, including audiobooks, ebooks, and magazines. So what we can then do is touch where it says Preferences, go to Format, and then change it from Any to Magazines, and click Apply Preferences. Now this will limit it to just subjects in magazines. So we have tech and gaming, home and garden, women's lifestyle, and so on. So from here you can pick a category, and this is really useful for finding magazines because we read them because they are such a narrow subject. So let's do tech and gaming. And you can see here all the different magazines. This has 423 magazines in this particular category. And you can see there are quite a lot of different magazines. I'm gonna go back and let's find that Cook's Country again. So I'm gonna go to Food and Wine, or Cook's Illustrated. And there it is. So I'm gonna click back in to Cook's Illustrated. Now there are a couple things on this page that I'll go over. So we already talked about how to find the back issues by going down the page, but let's talk about actually borrowing the magazines. So to borrow it, if you want the most recent issue, you'll click borrow up here. If you want a back issue, you'll click the little borrow symbol down below to the corresponding issue. But let's check out the most recent issue and click borrow. On this page, it will tell you you are borrowing Cook's Illustrated for, and I've set it to 21 days, but you can click on that. I think it may default to 7 or 14, and so you can change it up or down from there. This will be the amount of time that you have the magazine, and then it will automatically return after that duration. So if you know you want to read it for a while, you can choose 21 days. If you know you're going to browse it and then maybe forget to return it and want to check something out and then you're at your max checkouts, you may want to do 7 or 14, but that's up to you, and you can change it by just touching the amount of time you want to check it out for. So I'm going to set it back to 21 days and click borrow. So it'll take just a second, and you can see it automatically starts downloading, and it will say notifications will tell you when your loan is due. Would you like to set up your notifications now? So this gives one way to set up notifications. So you can click manage notifications if you want to make sure that you know when this is going to be due back. You can disable on your device or click not now, which is what I'll do here. From here, you can either open the magazine, keep browsing, or go to your shelf. So while we wait for that to download, I'll click on keep browsing. You can see here now it's changed to borrowed, and you can, instead of read a sample, click open in Libby. But I want to touch on one more thing here, which is the tag section. So this is the best way to get around that whole thing where it doesn't automatically check out the new issue, but if you still want to know when those new issues come out, you can create what's called a smart tag in Libby. So I'll touch on tag, and we can go to new tag, and I'm gonna just name it notify me. And you can add a description. I'll type magazine notification, and then you can make this anything. And you can also create what's called a smart, some smarts to your tag and make it a smart tag. So I'm gonna do that. And a regular tag is just a way to organize things. So you might make it a to be read list, a wish list. You might organize it by subjects. You can also make it a notify me tag, which is what I did there. And you can add magazines to this tag, and it will automatically notify you when any magazine added to this tag has a new issue. So I'm going to click that. And click hide. So now we can see my notify me tag. I had created this old notify tag before the class, but my notify me tag is one of my smart tags. So now we're going to go to our shelf, which is down here. And I can click on my notify me tag, and I can see here now Cooks Illustrated has been added to the smart tag, and I'm going to receive notifications about it. So while it's not an immediate checkout for those new issues, you'll at least know when a new issue has come out, and you can go and borrow it. Again, there are no waiting lists, so it just kind of adds one additional step beyond that automatic checkout. We now have automatic notifications, and then you can go in and check it out from there. So now let's cover how to read the magazine and how to navigate that. So we'll click Open in Libby, and here's the reader view. Now there's a whole bunch of stuff on the page. If you click right in the center, it'll go away, and if you click back in the center, it'll come back. Down here, you can see the individual pages, and you can touch on those, and it will go forward and back on pages as you touch them. You can skip ahead a couple pages. The most useful thing I use this for is to go to the directory page to see where the articles are. And an extremely cool feature of this is you can actually just touch on the specific article you want to read, and it will take you right there. Now you can read the article this way by just reading it on the page. You can navigate by clicking the right side to go forward one page, the left side to go back one page. And you can use gestures like pinching to zoom in and get that text bigger, and pinch back in to make it smaller. You can even, if you touch in the center again, if you click on the appearance, you can change the text scale and the lighting of the magazine. So this dark theme is good if you're reading late at night. It's not as bright with all the white, but the bright setting will be probably the most used. And I find this kind of hard to read because it is small, and sure, you can zoom in and move the page around like this. But another really cool feature here is when you go to an article, read the article comes up here at the bottom, and you can click on that, and it has this gorgeous reader view. You still get all the pictures and everything, but it's a nice formatted, nice and big text article here, and you can read it this way. And when you're done, it's kind of hard to see here. There's a little arrow there, and you can get back to the main magazine and then find the next chapter that you want to read. So I really like that article viewer. I think it's the best way to read the magazines here, but whatever works for you is gonna be the best for you. And you can always just swipe through and kind of browse the magazine like you would a physical magazine. If you get to an article you like and you want to read in depth, you can always click the read article and read from there. All right. The last thing I want to go over is how to return these magazines. Because we do these count towards your 10 checkouts in Libby, you may want to return the magazines. If you've used magazines in the past, you used to get unlimited checkouts, so you didn't really mind if they accumulated. But with Libby, this is going to return in 21 days, but if I have a lot more checked out and I want to check something else out, but I'm at my maximum, you can manually renew it too. You can do that if you're not already on your shelf. Click the shelf symbol here, go to Manage Loan, hit Return Early, and then confirm return. And it will say you have returned Cooks Illustrated. And then you can go back to your shelf or find your next read and go on from there. That's all I have for you today on our Wisconsin Digital Library magazines. I hope you get some use out of this. If you prefer to use it on a laptop, you can still read the magazines on a laptop and everything's going to be the same as I just showed you. The only difference is it doesn't have that reader view available on laptop or desktop computers, but the Libby app will work on smartphones and tablets, and you can read the magazines that way. And I find that just fine. I have no issues doing that. So I hope you get some use out of this, read some of our magazines that we have, and if you have any questions, always feel free to stop in at the library. As I said, that's all I got for you today. I hope you learned something and will join us next time.